Let's talk supply chain. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Supply Chain. So let's kick things off with a question. Today's guest is a leader in the pallet market. What value is the U.S. pallet market expected to reach in 2025? Well, what do you think? Let me know your guesses over on social because I'll let you know at the end of the show. So today I'm joined by a company that wants to transform the way your business moves. They're your single source for pallet program management, but who are they? Well, it's Pallet Alliance. Pallet Alliance is a strategic pallet management company that delivers procurement, logistics, and pallet optimization solutions. With their holistic approach, Pallet Alliance aims to reduce your operational costs, streamline pallet spend, and modernize the performance of your palletized program assets across your supply chain system or ecosystem. And it's Mary Casillo, Senior Vice President of Business Development at Pallet Alliance, that is joining me for the show today. Now, Mary's expertise is in supply-based procurement, and that has been pivotal in fostering client relationships and propelling operational excellence. Today, Mary and I are going to be talking all about Pallet Alliance, what they do, the importance of taking a holistic view, putting a clear focus on cost management, and integrating tracking into your transportation without changing your workflow. So, welcome to the show, Mary.
Hey Sarah, how you doing?
I am so happy to have you here. You and I are working on some projects on the side, and
hmm
I love your energy. I love your passion for the industry. I love your stories, which we're not going to get into some of those today. But there's a lot of areas of supply chain we talk a lot about, right? Things like
Yeah.
technology, those things get a lot of headlines. But really, it's the interesting opportunity to drill down a little bit more and talk about some of the details in supply chain. And pallets don't really get a lot of airtime, but in doing my research for the show, I'm realizing they can make a huge difference. And you were on Thoughts and Coffee recently to talk all about that as well. So
I
if you
was, yeah.
don't get your fix today, go and check out the Thoughts and Coffee episode that we did just a couple of weeks ago over on the Let's Talk Supply Chain at YouTube. So let's get into it. Let's dive a little
All
bit
right.
deeper in a minute, but I want you to give me a broad overview of Pallet Alliance. Who are you? What do you do? How do you help your customers?
Yeah. We're a certified veteran-owned pallet procurement and management company. So what we do is we work with companies who have multi-site manufacturing facilities, and we help them to procure pallets on a very large scale, national scale. We're in the United States, Canada, and just recently Mexico.
Oh,
And we help them manage their pallet program. And what separates us from other management companies is that we actually take a scientific approach to pallet management and category management. So we employ wood scientists, wood packaging engineers, and we take our job very seriously, and we help our customers to create those supply chain efficiencies specific to the pallet. So we have a large vendor network. We have over 3,500 pallet manufacturing in our Rolodex
wow.
facilities. And currently we're working with about 650 plus that are vetted. And what I mean by vetted is that we know that their capabilities match the capabilities of the facility that they're servicing. And we make sure that we are partnering with the appropriate people to make sure that your pallet category is most efficient.
I love that. I never actually thought
Yeah.
on this show that we would pair the word palette with scientist.
Yeah, Virginia Tech has a wonderful program. Um, we work closely with them, and they have the Center for Unit Load Design, and we use them. I'll probably talk about them later with a few examples, and how we use them and why it's beneficial to our customers. But yeah, it's incredible.
So cool.
Yeah, I
And
didn't.
do we know how many wood scientists there are in the world? I'm putting you on the spot. If you don't know, it's fine. But
I
I'm
have
just
no I
curious.
I have no idea, but I'm sure Virginia Tech is cranking out some really good ones.
I love that. Okay. So, what types of customers do you work with? I see a few Fortune 500s mentioned on
Yeah.
your website. Do you work
hmm
with smaller companies as well, or like who is your ideal client?
Yeah. Well, with any company that has wood packaging spend, and that can be pallets, crates, dunnage, anything wooden packaging. And as long as you have a spend over like 200,000, we can help you out. Um, so if you have multiple locations, our ideal customer has 5 to 25 sites and they spend over a million on wood packaging.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you're sort of blowing my mind right now. I didn't even realize it was like that big of a market and
Yeah.
that companies have that size of wood packaging within their facilities, but it kind of makes sense, right? Things
Yeah.
need to move. And I remember from my logistics days that when things are being transported, especially, in trucks, on rail, the packaging makes the difference of how something gets to the end destination in
Absolutely.
the way that it's supposed to be delivered. And if you don't have the right packaging, it can cause all sorts of problems in delays, damages, et cetera, and plus a lot of capital as well.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
much money, so much money is spent with packaging. And I think a lot of times people don't consider the pallet as part of the packaging.
Hmm.
But again, with that scientific approach that Pallet Alliance takes, we want to pair the two together because that's how you create those efficiencies.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the efficiency, but also protect the capital because the product that
Oh,
is going
yes.
on the pallet, the product that's going within that crate potentially has a capital cost. If
Hmm.
it's not
Hmm.
getting there whole, then there is a cost to having to fix that problem. And
Yes.
there's capital tied to that particular product. So if it can't be used, you have to then produce something else of the equal value to that customer, depending on what that is. And it could be something that is saving a line, and that line could be down for a couple of days that's costing the company millions of dollars. So for me, I feel like there's a domino effect in the capital costs that wood packaging is really kind of the unsung hero of, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
So poetic. So I
Yeah.
just mentioned a couple of those challenges that are happening with, the packaging problems. What do you see most regularly? What are some of the biggest challenges customers are coming to you with at the moment? Are they thinking about the capital of the product that you're protecting? Are they thinking about the cost and just the movement of the pallet? Because once that pallet sort of leaves their facility, how does that boomerang back so that it's not like sort of a lost cost?
Yeah. So how a pallet interacts with a facility starts when it is delivered.
Hmm.
So a lot of times what we see when pallets are delivered to a facility, it's the holistic approach to that pallet. What happens when it gets there? What machinery is it interacting with? How are you handling it throughout the facility?
Mm.
Are you racking it? Are you not racking it? Are you stacking pallets? What palletizing equipment are you using? What robots, what lasers, everything. So a lot of times one of the things that we see more often than not actually is the fact that the packaging responsibilities are left to their local teams and like a decentralized strategy. So having that national pallet program um, is something that really entices our customers to want to work with us because the value of a national approach and control and visibility is extremely important to them. Um, where you're doing at this site may be completely different from this site,
Yeah.
right? You may be using different machinery, so on and so forth. So, what's the one palette? Can you decrease the SKUs that you're using? You know, are you seeing any quality issues at this facility with this equipment, with this particular pallet, and you're not seeing it here at this facility with this particular pallet? And then how do you create that environment or that ecosystem, pallet ecosystem, throughout an organization to make sure that things are running as smoothly as possible?
So one
So,
of the biggest challenges is that it's kind of siloed by
Very much so.
location. And I kind of chuckle a little bit because isn't that traditional supply chain? Right?
Yep.
Traditionally, supply chain and what we're trying to get out of is how everything is so siloed and how all the departments are siloed, and we need more
Yes.
collaboration. It's why I put this there. Collaboration is the future of business. We want to
Yep.
bring locations together because at the end of the day, that means to me, anyways, that the biggest challenge is efficiency and also visibility. If you've got one
Yes.
location that's working with a different maybe pallet manufacturer or partner than, another location, you don't have a lot of visibility and there's probably a lot left on the table.
Yeah. So much is left on the table, down to the scientific, this is where the wood scientists come in handy, down to the scientific molecule of a wood species. So what wood species are you using here? What wood species are you using there? You know? So it's quite incredible how intricate a palette can be for an organization. And understanding and knowing that is key to making it most cost effective.
Can I ask you a question? I know you're not the wood
You
scientist,
can.
but I do need to,
I am
and I'm
not.
gonna put you on, I'm gonna put you on the spot again. You
Sure.
are, I have never put anybody on the spot this much in an episode before,
It's fine.
but does it matter where the location of the facility is that's using that pallet? Because you said it goes down to like the wood molecule. So like I think about Arizona is like drier than New
hmm
York. And so does the location and humidity and sort of like weather in a location matter?
Yeah, so many aspects. So let's take weather into consideration, and I'll use very humid, Louisiana.
Hmm.
So we'll use Louisiana. It's very humid down there. A lot of times people are using a lot of times, every time people are using pallets if they're shipping something. And what happens, uh, one problem that we see is mold because
Oh.
of the storing environment.
Hmm.
So a lot of times, oh, let's receive in these pallets, but they're storing them outside where it rains, but they're underneath something, but where it rains, and but they're sitting in puddles, and then that water gets soaked up by wood, and one thing leads to another, mold. And it may be a food facility. If it's a food facility, you cannot have mold.
No,
That is a no-no.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And in the dryer, if you have, you are storing outside, you don't have much rain. If your pallets are stored outside and there's no rain, they're getting, the wind is blowing on them, they're drying off. It's it's incredible to know and understand,
Mhm.
not to the level of our wood scientists at Pallet Alliance, but it's incredible to know and understand that so many things make an impact on pallets, which then impact the unit load, which then impacts the the customer, and then impacts their customers.
Yeah. It's a
So we
domino
kind of,
effect.
yeah, it's the from the ground up,
Yeah.
you
Amazing.
got to consider everything.
Thank you for sharing that and like
On
trying
the
to put
spot.
your wood scientist hat on for me just for a moment. All right. If we widen the lens out to sort of the broader industries, what do you think are some of the biggest in issues impacting you and your customers right now? Like, how are they driving a need for cost management and improved efficiency? We kind of touched on it with the weather. You kind of touched upon
Yep.
the nature of the pallet needing to be in a good position to be able to travel the distance that it travels, but also handle
Mhm.
the unit load. And if it's not, then it affects everything within that unit, but then also down
Mhm.
the line. So
Mhm.
what else that have we not talked about that we should consider?
Um, I think I think everything costs more currently, with the current economic environment, and that's impacting a client's profitability and their time. So
Hmm.
when times are good, there seems to be less of an interest in doing things to, maybe looking at programs to decrease the costs, right? But during tough times, this is when companies are engaged more actively in finding ways to reduce costs.
Right.
You know,
Hmm.
currently lumber has been affected by inflationary forces just like everything else.
Hmm.
And I can remember when the prices per thousand board foot were a little bit below $100 per
Hmm.
board foot on the West Coast, and today we are barely scratching the bottom of $200 per board foot. So
Wow.
everything is being impacted. So finding ways to optimize, like other ways to optimize costs,
Hmm.
is more important than ever.
And how you're using pallets. I mean, if you're storing them outside and you're not able to use them, that doesn't help anybody. And I think when you were on Thoughts and Coffee, we talked about some of the costs that go into a pallet that people don't really even consider. Do you remember what
Yeah.
those were?
Yeah, of course. So a pallet, the lumber in a pallet is about 65 to 75% part of the pallet, but you also have the labor costs
Hmm.
that are involved. Who's building these pallets? Are you building them by hand? Are you building them with a machine? How much was that machine that pallet manufacturer purchased that they have to include in the cost of the pallet that they're now building? um, the fasteners that go into it. What type of fasteners are you using? There's other industries involved with the manufacturing of a pallet than
Hmm.
just the lumber industry.
Hmm.
And I think oftentimes customers confuse that and they're always like, well, what lumber indexes are you using? And it's like, huh, all right. Well, we need to get down and dirty and explain that it's not just the lumber index that we have to monitor.
Yeah.
It's everything.
Well,
Yeah.
and most people don't know this about me, but my husband worked at a pallet company for a little
Hmm.
while. And it was so interesting to me because those pallets would come in and they would need to be repaired. And they had all of these people, taking those pallets, pulling them apart, putting new
Hmm.
wood on them. And then there's certain pallets that have to have a certain paint on them for specific things. And so it had
Oh
to go into
yeah.
the paint room, and people would come out of the paint room like fully immersed in like red or blue paint. And so, it was just so interesting to me how many people were involved. And this was a full facility, and all they did was pallets. How many people were involved, the repairs, the paint, like all of that kind of stuff. And
Yeah,
pallets were moving in and out and in and out and in and out all the time.
constant. I will say this over and over and over again. Pallet manufacturers are the hardest working individuals
Yeah. And
I,
they're
I have
heavy.
seen. They are heavy. Pallets are heavy. And to go into a facility and watch people just toss them around and stack them perfectly by
Mhm.
hand is the most incredible thing to watch because, you talk to the owner of the pallet and they're just like, yeah, that's Joe over there. He slings, over 300 pallets a day. And you're like, what?
What?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
incredible.
That's a lot. Now, let's
Mhm.
talk about the range of products that you offer because we've been talking a lot about wood, but I think there's also some plastic thrown in there as well because you have, I think, new ones, you have recycled wood pallets, you have plastic pallets. We talked about the crates already. Can you talk to
Mhm.
us, through those options and how you help your customers understand what's right for them and maybe what they need from their pallet ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think most importantly, it's the customer has to share with us what their goals are.
Hmm.
And based off of their goals, we can then take a look at Pallet Alliance takes a look at their entire program from beginning to end, and we see where the inefficiencies are, and we can make them efficient. Um, but when it comes to the specific product that they are producing, that plays a role in what type of pallet they should be using as well. So a lot of pharmaceutical you'll see with plastic, a lot of food is switching to plastic, and I think because plastic pallets can be cleaned,
Mm.
um, yeah, and sanitized. So there's a big push out there from the conferences I've been at. Everybody's like plastic this, plastic that. But it depends on how the current process is being run. How do you make it more efficient? And then what palette is best for that?
Mm.
So we have to work in unison with companies. Like we have to work together. There has to be a true partnership when working together with pallets because we need to talk about everything. We're going to ask all those crazy questions that the wood scientists come up with, right? They're going to ask these questions that are so in depth, and we just have to find the right one, you
Yeah,
know?
and it looks different for everybody, right? You have to take
Oh,
a look at it
everybody.
holistically. And it's not location by location, it's the whole ecosystem, it's the product
Hmm.
that's going on the pallet. Um, like you said, all of that goes into consideration when you're looking at the entirety of their sort of
Hmm.
pallet supply chain. What goes
Yep.
in, what goes out, what comes back? Does it come back, right? How can we
Does it come
ensure
back?
that it comes back? Because there's also a
Yeah.
lot of capital put into the pallets as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
With the cost of
Um,
it and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And getting those pallets back, Pallet Alliance has a technology that we have in IntelliPallet, and we use that technology to help our customers get those pallets back. Can they get it back, right?
Mhm.
You have to know and understand where you're shipping your pallets. Are they being repalletized where you're shipping them, and then those pallets are being put aside or being recycled? How do you get those pallets back? Can we repair and return those pallets?
Mhm.
So there's so many options when it comes to to saving money
Mhm.
with customers and using pallets. So
Yeah. Well, and you just beat me to it. I was going to ask you about IntelliPallet. Um,
okay.
and so it's your IoT-enabled logistics platform. So talk to
Hmm.
us about how operationally it allows businesses to avoid the need to convert their entire workflow. Like paint me a picture of how I could use IntelliPallet with my ecosystem and what's
Yeah. So yeah, it's our patented technology. That's the industry's first tracking platform for pallets that delivers comprehensive location, environmental data, all, down to the individual pallet. So wherever the pallet starts to wherever it ends. So it's integrated into your existing pallet system. So there's no need to change material handling practices or equipment. And, your pallets will stack and load just the way they always have. They're still repairable, they're still recyclable. Um, it's Our technology is virtually undetectable.
Hmm.
So it's a little GPS system. It goes into your current pallet and then it tracks everything from A to Z, which is incredible for companies who want to get the data they want to start using AI because everybody wants to use AI.
But it's not even just that. It's also coming down to those data-driven decisions. If you don't know
Oh yeah.
where your pallet is, I mean, people talk about tracking their shipment, right? And
Hmm.
I've had companies come on talking about tracking their shipment. But if you
Hmm.
can track the pallet of where that product is as well, then you can better make decisions, data-driven decisions as to what kinds of pallets you want to use, where they're going, what's happening to them when they're in transit,
Absolutely.
when they get to the other side. How do we get those back? Like how long are they sitting there potentially in the dock, on the dock or in the warehouse before they're actually making it back? And how
Yeah.
can we talk to our customer or maybe our vendor about that? Right? The
Yes.
pallet is
Yep.
sitting there for a couple of days. We know you're waiting to send us some stuff back, but maybe there's some other way that we can do that to make sure that it flows a little bit more
Mhm.
freely and easily so that we can get that pallet back and we can use it for something or someone else.
Absolutely. I can give you a hot off the press example.
Yes.
Yes, just recently we were working with a current customer. We've been with this customer for 15 plus years, and we don't have all of their locations, but one of the locations they asked us to take a look at, and what they were doing with their pallets was that they were sending them out, and then they were not recovering them because
Hmm.
wherever they were sent, they were not appropriately sorting and repairing them. So we found that one location was sending at least 8 truckloads of of pallets somewhere and then not retrieving those pallets. But we used IntelliPallet to track where those pallets were ending up. So we were able to then implement that program where we found out where they were, we can go gather them, we send them to a repair depot, that depot repairs them, and then we sell them back into the customer at a reduced cost.
Hmm.
So because the pallets they originally purchased are just being repaired and sent back into them, and we found that with the total volume of that, we saved this customer $622,000 per year.
Wow. That's a
Yeah, it's almost
lot of money just
it
on
is
pallets.
a one location,
And one location.
one location in a company that has 35 locations.
Wow. So are
Yeah.
they giving you like the keys to the castle and you get to like look at all the rest of the locations? Because would.
So so this program we actually set up with them originally. It just wasn't including all of their locations, right? Because they were using a different company to do that,
Hmm.
to just go out and recycle. And those pallet manufacturers, as they always do, they recycle these pallets, they pick them up, they repair them themselves and sell them to someone else.
Right.
But if we can create a specification
Hmm.
that is specific to a customer,
Yeah.
we then know what that pallet is, we know how to find it, and then we can repair that and it belongs to that customer.
Hmm. How many
Yeah.
pallets need to be repaired? I'm putting you on the spot yet again.
Woo!
Do you know how many pallets need to be
I,
like, does every single one of them every time they travel need to be repaired?
not every sinsingle one of them.
Okay.
No. So let's talk about quality. So if you are shipping a product that weighs 2,500 pounds
Hmm.
and your pallet is only built to carry 1,500 pounds, you're
Hmm.
going to have quality issues. You're going to have
Hmm.
board breakage. You're going to have stringer breakage. So you're going to see quality issues that are going to have to be repaired. But if the pallet is built specific to the product with which it is carrying,
Yeah.
you're going to see the less chances of issues happening.
Mm.
So that's where Pallet Alliance comes in, right? We want to
Yeah.
make sure what you're doing is not going to impact your product,
Hmm.
damage it in any way, because that costs money. Two, we want to make sure when it arrives at the customer, we don't want that customer charging you for a bad
Right.
pallet.
Yeah.
And that happens so much, so much now that a lot of companies are charging suppliers fees because their product is showing up on damaged pallets.
Mm. Yeah. See,
So,
that's the other thing too, right? Is that there could be penalties if
yeah.
it's showing up on a damaged pallet. And the other thing that I'm thinking about is with all of those different locations, and I kind of think about like
Hmm.
auto manufacturers and how each location, builds a different car.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, in a
Yeah.
company, each location could put, they're not producing the same thing in every single location. And
Correct.
so the weight of the product that they're moving versus the weight of the product that a different location is moving is very different and needs a different serviceable pallet to be able to move that product and make sure that it does not get damaged.
Yes. Or if things are packaged the same way
Hmm.
and stacked the same way on a pallet and secured to the pallet, you can then find one pallet that is standard across the way that will handle a lot of your products. And then that way that provides you with a SKU reduction,
Hmm.
and that provides you with a little bit of what do you call it? Consistency across the board.
Yeah, standardization. But also, if
Yes.
one
Mhm.
location needs some pallets, you know which location has a surplus, and that
Yes.
location can then, and that they carry the pallet that that location needs, you can then send some over,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's that supply chain resiliency.
Yeah. It's the
It's
holistic view. It's what you get when you have visibility
everything.
into
Hmm.
your pallets.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. So,
It's pretty cool.
how do you work with your customers? I heard that you have sort of 5 steps to success. I don't know if you just started telling us about that and got to number 3, but can you go
Oh
over
no.
those 5 steps to success, and what that looks like?
Yep. It's audit, plan, implement, manage, and innovate. Those are the 5 steps. So with auditing, we will audit the entire process from pallet design to the current how you're currently managing it. And then from that information, of the audit, we can develop custom comprehensive pallet programs that scale to your organization to increase your efficiencies and then lower your costs. Excuse me. So once we've created those plans, we can then implement that. But in order to implement it, we want to rigorously test by site sampling. So if we're changing anything, we want to make sure that we are working with the sites to test the products with which we've created, or the plan that we created, or the efficiencies that came up, and then we implement it because we don't want to implement anything that creates disruption. So we try to do everything without disruption.
Mhm.
And then the management of it. The management at Pallet Alliance is really cool. Everyone gets an individual to work with, so you have one point of contact. And then our customers always have access to our C-suite at all times if anything goes wrong.
Hmm.
But we also do spend management through the changing markets.
Mm.
And like I said earlier, there's so many markets that are included in the manufacturing of a pallet. So we want to make sure that we're monitoring how things are moving.
Mhm.
Um, and so each individual site, even though it can be a centralized program, will have the attention that it needs and requires.
Mm.
And then the innovate. Innovate is really cool. Using our experience and our knowledge, and our technology, we're always looking for continuous improvement opportunities.
Mhm.
Case in point, that example I just used earlier, we found an opportunity for our customer to improve their process.
Yeah.
And we've been with that customer for 15 plus years.
Right.
So it's year over year, we are finding ways to innovate, implementing IntelliPallet to track where all your pallets are going. Can you create those closed loop systems?
Mhm.
How about the software that we use? We use a software, and a software is only as good as the user using it. So a software created for pallets that's being used by wood scientists and packaging engineers is going to be used to the best of its abilities.
Right.
So because we have that knowledge, we're able to innovate, create new ideas. If you're seeing quality issue over here, what's the quality issue? Why are you seeing it? How do we change the pallet or the crate or the dunnage to make sure that that quality issue or that concern doesn't exist anymore?
Right. But I
So
think,
it's
and I think also on the innovation side, and I don't mean to interrupt, but on
no
the
good.
innovation side, I think you're also always taking a look at regulating some of those cost drivers, right? We
Yep.
talked about everybody looking at costs and helping your customers minimize spend wherever possible as well. Like kind of like that example that you shared earlier in the fact that, you're doing that loop for them with the pallets where they're coming in for repair and they're not paying full price for that pallet because it's being
Hmm.
repaired.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
love that.
absolutely.
Well, I know you've
Me-
given us a couple of examples already. And on your website, because I do some research before I do these things,
Great.
you have some of the savings you've helped sort of drive for clients, and they are some very, very big numbers. So, can you share another story with us today? Like, give us an example of the challenge that a customer came to you with, the
Yeah.
solution that you came up with based on that challenge, and then what was the ROI and benefit they saw?
Okay. Yeah. So another example. Uh, so clients rely on us as more than just quoting pallets, right? We're experts in sourcing, in design, industrial system engineers, logistic experts, so on and so forth. So most recently, another big win. I think it was a 500,000 in savings.
What?
Um, yeah, it was from a pallet redesign.
Mm,
So yeah, so we simultaneously consolidated two SKUs down to one. And the one we created was almost 25 times more capable of handling a load capacity. But to explain this, using the same software. Again, I'm not the wood scientist, but
I know.
using using the softwares that we use and knowing and understanding how to use those softwares, we took a pallet design and we reduced the lumber that was being used within this pallet.
Huh.
And we were using the software and we realized that when we reduced the lumber size, the software just didn't seem right. Um, we knew that the software output wasn't fairly assigning a capacity to the pallet.
Hmm.
So what we did was we partnered with Virginia Tech, their Center of Unit Load Design, and we paid to have it tested, the pallet that we came up with.
Huh.
And because we had it tested, they have the coolest pallet lab there.
I want to
And
go now.
it is so cool. It is so cool there. They have these machines that test the pressure and everything. And using this machine, right? We found that our design could carry 25 times more the capacity needed
Wow.
when the software alone was just telling us the pallet wasn't suitable.
Mm.
So because of the knowledge, we were able to provide the necessary support to help our client change the specification that they were using. And it simultaneously took two pallets, made it into one,
Hmm.
reduced it to one SKU, which is nice. A lot of people love um, to reduce the SKUs that they have. And all in all, it was nearly $500,000 in savings just from one project.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And being able to send that and also partner, because you're partnering, it's a university, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So you're
Yep.
partnering with, is it like university students and their professors?
Yes. Absolutely.
Which is amazing
So,
because what you're doing is you're then getting them sort of real life use cases within the industry for them to work on so
yep.
that they can then go into the industry and sort of make an impact themselves. I love that.
Absolutely.
Mm,
Yeah. It's incredible. It's incredible the things that our technical team can do.
awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I can't believe we're at the end of this conversation, Mary. You
Oh
and I
no,
could
it's
talk for
great.
hours, or maybe it's
Yeah,
just,
we could.
I don't know. I have a knack for the gab, I think. But I think you have a special offer for us. Can you share that and let us know how Let's Talk Supply Chain listeners can benefit?
Absolutely. So Pallet Alliance will offer a 100% free top to bottom audit of your entire pallet program. And our technical program um, sale outnumbers our sales for a reason because they are extremely intelligent. Um, we are the best in the industry at identifying efficiencies, improving processes, and lowering total cost of ownership, both through total sourcing and design decisions. So all of that starts with getting an understanding of the mechanics of your specific pallet utilization. So if you reach out to us, if you reach out to Pallet Alliance, you can go on our website, you can reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn. I love talking just like we just said. I love talking specifically about pallets. So we can review your entire process for free. And I think that that's a wonderful deal. And I hope the listeners take advantage of it.
So they just need to let you know that they've come from the Let's Talk Supply Chain podcast to be able to get that deal, right?
Yes. Yep, absolutely.
That is a very important part of it.
Absolutely.
And
If you
what
are
is,
listening,
sorry?
oh go ahead. I'm like, if you are listening right now or you are watching, you reach out to us and you let us know that this is where you heard us. Let's talk supply chain, and we will gladly work with you.
All right. And what's the value of that?
The value of it is you'll now understand.
No, I mean the
Um,
value of like how do you usually charge for it? So like what's the value to the listeners?
so the value is you don't have to pay for all the travel that's going to happen with our wood scientists and our technical team to go to all of your locations and take a look at everything.
Oh, that's a big
Yeah,
deal because that's a
it's
big price
huge,
tag. Wow.
very big.
Pallet
Hmm.
Alliance is betting on the Let's Talk Supply Chain listeners, and I know that we're not going to let them down. So, in the current climate, many businesses are facing the pressure to do more with less. Ambitious performance benchmarks, wow, that was a tongue twister, coupled with tight cost controls, push purchasers to squeeze every ounce of efficiency from operations, including pallets. But a successfully managed pallet program can balance performance, safety, and cost. Pallet Alliance brings a big picture collaborative mindset with extensive knowledge of pallets and material handling operations to build comprehensive programs and forge long lasting partnerships that drive ongoing improvement for added value year after year. So, did you have a guess at today's big question? Well, at the top of the show, I asked you what value is the US pallet market expected to reach in 2025? Are you ready? Well, it is $20.7 billion dollars and is projected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 7.06% between now and 2034. I just want to say thank you so much to the team at Pallet Alliance for making this episode happen. And if you want to hear more from us, we have plenty more content for you featuring the best and brightest in the industry. Head over to Let's Talk Supply Chain to check out the latest. And Mary, of course, to you, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing all your amazing insights.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure.